Hi everyone, it's Lewis from TheBall101, and today I'm back for another video. So today I'll be doing the CPC Season 3 Palkia Division Power Rankings. Just like the Dialga Division Power Rankings, I'm joined by Cosmic Kyle, an amazing coach and an amazing friend.
Greetings.
Yeah.
And salutations.
Okay, so let's get on with the methodology. We will not be taking coach playstyle into consideration, and we will be looking at the teams only on how the team functions according to our knowledge. So yeah, another thing to add is that you have your opinions, we have our opinions, this is our opinions. If you disagree, prove us wrong, and yeah, win the entire thing and prove us wrong. That's basically what we want to say, and please respect each other, and yeah, that's about it. So Kyle, you want to move on with our first team?
Yeah, our first team, or our last team, more realistically, in 14th place, we have the Quincy Quagsires, coached by Plumber. So the first thing you notice right off the bat is the major rock weakness with the 3 fire types and the 2 flying types, and then also a major ground weakness with the steel types, the electric type, and the 2 fire types that are weak to ground. And then you look deeper into this team, you realize they don't have a dragon type, they don't have a fairy type to complete that fantasy core we all know and love. Their one grass type is Maractus, which I don't see doing much personally. So, I mean, they have other ways of dealing with water types, but with Luxray, but I still don't see Maractus doing all that much. So, I mean, hey, if you have some secret tech for it, cool, more power to you. Show us it in the season. Yeah, this team overall, though, it's not bad being a Ninetales team. None of these teams are truly bad. They've all got something strong about them, and this one I really like. Priority Tailwind, as well as like Landorus Incarnate. It's gonna do decent or really good damage with Sheer Force being a non-max league. I think you could see some success there with it. So this team's not bad, it's just the weakest of the bunch.
Yeah, I agree with you. Another thing that I want to add is that they have no ghost resist, so that might be a problem if you happen to run into, let's say, a Mega Gengar. And yeah, you might have some. Well, you do have Landorus, but like, yeah, I get the point. You get my point. No ghost resist might cause an issue, but I don't think that's that bad. One good thing about this team that I want to talk about is that if you manage to set up Trick Room, which you do have Uxie and you have Follow Me on Lucario, you can set up Trick Room and like just Eruptions in Sun or like Sheer Force boosted Lava Plumes would do a lot of damage from camera. So yeah, that's about all I have for this team, and we will move on to the next one. So for our 13th place, we have the New York Ninetails, coached by Robbie. So, he has Urshifu and a Trapper in Gothitelle, which is a very powerful core. He also has a fantasy core that I like a lot with Registeel and Diancie and Noivern. Noivern is usually very solid at setting Trick Room. Tailwind. And Urshifu and Diancie can abuse this Tailwind pretty well, in my opinion. But yeah, other than that, some of the bad points that I want to talk about for this team is that I don't see why Parasect or Seal are on this team. Yes, technically Seal has Fake Out and can Perish Trap along with Gothitelle, but like, both of these mons are not fully evolved and would probably like the Eviolite, and that makes it so that you can only Eviolite one of them, which might cause some problems. Also, Parasect, I'm not sure why you need Parasect when you already have Sarina, and like Parasect, yeah, it gets Spore, but like, it's just not a good mon in my opinion. But yeah, other than that, I think this team is pretty good. As Kyle had said, every team is amazing since this is Natdex. It's basically impossible to get a horrible team. But yeah, You also got fake out, very good fake out pressure in Ampon, which is something that I like. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Also, you don't have Trick Room. Like no good Trick Room abuser.
One thing I have also noticed about this team is there's also no fire types, so dealing with those steel types and those grass types could be difficult. I mean, you have other ways around it, but it's still going to be difficult in dealing with those. But yeah, no fire types, so you're missing your biggest core in Fire, Water, Grass. Probably the most important core in competitive Pokemon. So, yeah.
So, I guess let's move on to the next one. Kyle?
Moving on to the Seattle Shuckles, coached by Phobia. What we see here right away is we've got a really solid Trick Room core in Conkeldurr, Jellicent. You've got Fake Out Pressure with Persian. You've got Follow Me and War Turtle. But you've got a really bad ground weakness. You look at the top row, you see 4 of the 6 mons weak to ground in Aggron, Arcanine, Regieleki, and Duraludon. They're all weak to ground, so that's not great, but you have other ways around this. You've got really good grass and really good water types in order to counter these ground types. So I also think Marshadow is going to secretly pop off. I think it could be a real sneaky pick here. I really love Marshadow. It's a great mythical mon. Probably my favorite mythical mon, but you know, I think it'll do great here. This team. So one thing this team's really missing is a Tailwind core. There's no Tailwind setter here, but it has Regieleki, which is the fastest mon in the field. So you don't technically need Tailwind, but it would still be nice to have with Duraludon and Arcanine really benefiting from Tailwind. So yeah,
I agree with basically everything Kyle said. Another good point that I want to add to this team is your Trick Room mode. I really like Jellicent setting Trick Room and having Conkeldurr and like probably Appleton and Aggron doing some damage under Trick Room. Like, I think this is a pretty solid Trick Room core and I like it. So yeah, and War Turtle is a very good low tier pick in my opinion because it's basically Blastoise without the offensive options, but still holding those supportive options with Yawn, Fake Out, and most importantly, Follow Me. But I guess that's about it for this team, and let's move on to the next one. So our next team is the Cincinnati Solosis. So their team has Ensign, and like I love Ensign as a mon, and yeah, you have a Fire, Water, Grass core, and you do have a Fantasy core with that Mawile and the Turtonator. But one thing that I am a bit confused about is what is Pelipper doing here? I don't see a rain mode, so I'm not sure about it. Because usually when you draft Pelipper, you usually like to pair it with a Rain Sweeper, maybe something like Kingdra or like Seismitoad that doesn't share a weakness with Pelipper. But in this case, I have no idea what he is planning to do with it. Another mon that I have no idea why is here is Malamar. Yes, I guess Contrary is pretty good, but like, first off, the Psychic and Dark type just sucks because like you don't have any resistance. You don't have a resistance to any type. Like, I guess other than Psychic, which you're not worried about Psychic types, to be honest. You have Mawile, you have Incineroar, and you like what does Malamar give to this team? Set Trick Room? Reuniclus does that already, so I don't really see the point of having Malamar on this team. But other than that, I really like the Instant Tangrowth combo. I've used it and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I just have a couple things on this point as well. Indeedee Male is another Trick Room setter, so once again, Malamar just doesn't make sense. It overlaps. I agree with that one. Turtonator is another one that doesn't really make sense to me on this team. I guess it's your like primary Trick Room sweeper, but you already have Incineroar for Fire type, And I guess it's your primary dragon type, so maybe what this team could have benefited from was not taking Malamar and taking a stronger dragon type here, because I don't see Turtonator doing all that much, especially in a non-max league where you can't benefit from Dynamaxing and using a weakness while. And then Shedinja just... I've never seen Shedinja do well in draft leagues just because it's so predictable. It's so easy to predict what you're going to get from Shedinja. It's a Shadow Sneak, or it's a Swords Dance into a Shadow Sneak usually. Yeah, and it's very easy to prep for when you know it's coming. So it's just another one of those picks that I don't really care for.
I agree with what you said. Togepi is great, follow me, but yeah, but other than that, I think we have covered basically everything that we wanted to say. So let's move on to the next one. Kyle, take it away.
So next up, we've got the Flanders Flygons, coached by Coach Ronan. Right off the bat, we see this team. It's right there in the middle, I guess, which is why we're ranking it somewhat towards the middle. You've got a great Trick Room setter in Jirachi, who can set Trick Room and also follow Moon to get redirection off of stuff with the 4x weakness, like Salazzle, or like Alola Ninetails, or Komodo. But this team, just to me, it was better before the trade statement. So this team originally had Breloom instead of Zaru, which I think is just a better Pokemon for this team. I think this team Black. Spore, I think, would have helped this team a lot. It also had Arctozolt, and Arctozolt was your Ice Sweeper. Right now, Alola Ninetales doesn't really do much for this team without that Tail Sweeper. And then it also had Blacephalon over Mienshao. I actually like that trade. I think Mienshao offers a lot to this team in speedy fake-outs and also another physical attacker. This team's look, just based on looks pretty special heavy to me. I haven't really did deep dive into that, but so yeah, that looks to be a good trade, but the other two just, I think, were better off before. Right now, Alola Ninetales doesn't have a purpose on this team, and I don't know what Zaru's purpose on this team is. At least with Breloom, you've got Spore, and if you were scared of the 4x flying weakness with Breloom, you've got Mega Man X-Ray, who will just decimate any flying type that comes out of the field.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, and more on the flying type thing, originally you had Arctozolt, which also deals with those ground flying types that Manectric cannot deal with. So that's another point that for not trading away Breloom. But what happened, and here we are. I think Kyle pretty much covered everything. Another notable core that I wanted just quickly mention is if you manage to not get faked out turn 1 and set up Tailwind using Flesh Endure next to maybe Diggersby, that would make it so that Diggersby can just spam huge power Earthquakes next to Talonflame, not Talonflame, Flesh Endure, which might be scary, but we'll see. We'll see what Ronan can bring to the table. So moving on to the next team, we have the Morenci Morpekos. Their team has Darkrai and I really like the Regidrago, Regidrago and Volbeat combo. Like, I really like Regidrago paired with priority Tailwind setters, just because it immediately makes it so anything that doesn't resist Dragon just dies to Dragon energy, especially in non-max. Obviously, you've got Mega Kangaskhan here, which is an insane Mega Pokemon. Tailwind paired with things like Nidoqueen, which with Sheer Force Life Orb can do a lot of damage. You also have Darkrai, which if you get lucky, double sleep from Dark Void is detrimental to any team. Crabominable is also a pretty good mon that can work in either Tailwind or Trick Room, since it does have enough speed to outspeed base 130s in Tailwind. But speaking of Trick Room, here's where my biggest complaint for this team lies. Your only Trick Room setter is Deoxys Speed, the second fastest mon in the entire game. So I don't think that's a good thing. Besides, you also have 3 NFEs. I know that Clamperl doesn't necessarily want the Eviolite, but Magneton and Togetic usually want to compete for the Eviolite, and most of the time you're giving it to Togetic, which makes it so that Magneton kind of loses out on its full potential, or like at least in the bulky side. Like you could run a fully offensively specs Magneton or something like that, but like I still think having too many NFEs on one team is not a good thing. Yeah, that's about... another thing that I have against this team is its lack of a Fire Water Grass card. You don't see a Fire type or a Grass type, and your Water type is Clamperl, which I don't think you're bringing it a lot. Because like without good Trick Room, Clamperl cannot do anything basically, because it just dies, and you need to outspeed it with the help of Trick. You need to outspeed things with the help of Trick Room. But overall, still pretty solid team.
Yeah, definitely. Primeape is the one Pokemon on this team that confuses me. I don't see its role here and what it brings to the table. You've already got a fighting typing Abominable, so I'm not quite sure why it's here. I think this team could benefit from swapping out Primeape for something like a Fire type or like Grass type to help benefit, or even a better bulky, or even a better Water type. But yeah, that's my 2 thoughts on this team. I really like this team. I think it's going to be sneaky good. I think this could be one of the better teams in the league. I could see it being piloted very well, but I could also see it going terribly and ending horribly well as well.
Yeah, so let's move on to the next one.
So our next team in 7th place is MJ, coached by, of course, MJ. So the first thing you see off this team, you've got grassy terrain, but you don't have an Unburden user or Unburden Mon to abuse this grassy terrain. And then you've got weather, a really solid weather mode with Politoed and Zapdos and Kingdra. You've also got Prankster with Klefki and Tailwind with Butterfree, and also Redirection with Butterfree. So this team is really solid. It's just missing a couple things. This is another team that doesn't have a complete Fire Water Grass core. It's missing that Fire type. It's also missing like a true Trick Room mode. It's got that Trick Room setter in Gengar, but it doesn't have a Trick Room sweeper to abuse Trick Room with. So this team probably could have gone with a Trick Room sweeper and been one of the top 3 teams in the league, I think. And then maybe they could have swapped out Hitmonchan for Hitmonchan and gotten that Unburdenmon that we were talking about earlier, and this team would be top of the line. I think this team has the pieces to be great. It's just whether they can execute it or not.
I absolutely agree with what you said. Another confusing part about this team is Chansey. Usually when you draft Chansey, you're pairing it with Shuckle for some annoying Chansey Shuckle guard split or whatever, how it works. It's not a good strat, but if you want to draft it, it's just something that others have to prep for. And without Shuckle, I don't see the reason why Chansey is in this team. But yeah, other than that, I think it's pretty good. Purloin is not Purloin. Perugly is actually a mon that I think might put in some surprising work with like Fake Out and Defiant. Like it could be a sneaky mon that just maybe carries a week or two, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And obviously Gengar trapping with like a very strong mon in like maybe Woodhammer Bulu is awesome, because like no switches. So moving on to the 6th place, we have the Wedgehurst Whimsicotts. So this team has Whimsicott. Who would have guessed? But seriously, Whimsicott is very good. Paired with, as I said, I really like just Prankster Tailwind with very powerful moves, and that powerful move is the Typhlosion with the Eruption or the Blastoise with the Water Spout. Both can do a lot of damage next to Whimsicott if Whimsicott gives them the Tailwind, and they can just be faster than the opponent and just sweep. Also, I think this team protects the Blastoise pretty well, since this team gives me the vibe of kind of like a Steela team, where you just have mons that protect the Cell's Steel out. So you have Lightning Rod to protect the Blastoise from electric moves, and you have a very good Grass type counter in Gengar, since it's very fast and it can just throw off powerful Sludge Bombs. Dragonite can be interesting if you maybe weakness policy Ice Shard with Donphan, but we'll see what he does with it. Dragon Dance multi-scale is still always threatening. And you do have decent Trick Room mons. I wouldn't say that they're great Trick Room mons, but I'd say they're decent. Throw and Dual Blade could run in Trick Room and do some things, and you do have a decent Trick Room setter in Whimsicott, since Whimsicott, even after you set Trick Room, you can still go first due to Prankster. One thing that we weren't sure about this team is Empoleon. Since you already have a Steel type and a Water type in Blastoise and Dual Blade, I think drafting another Define Mon, since I guess that's what you're drafting it for, might be even better. But maybe there just weren't any other options, and this was your best option, which then I respect it. I guess that's about it for this team. Kyle, do you have any extra thoughts?
Kind of covered all my thoughts.
Okay, cool. Then let's just move on to the next one.
So the next team is in 6th place, the Bonsly Boys, coached by Lacrosse, and right off the bat, you've got you look at the team and you see 3 grass types, but really these grass types, they're not all that bad. The fire, only one of them is truly weak to fire, because you've got a Alolan Executor, which is neutral to fire, and then you've got. But you do have a 4 times weakness to Ice between Shaman Sky and Alolan Executor. But Mega Metagross and Hitmon top cover that weakness quite well as Ninetales. So this team, it covers its weaknesses really well. You've got a good Trick Room Mon in Incursion, as well as Electric Terrain. So it's like, Incursion's one of the best Trick Room sweepers with its slow speed and Electric Terrain boosted rising voltage to hit like an absolute truck. Then you've got Mew, which is not the greatest of Trick Room setters, but it works. You've got Sunflora here as your Sun Sweeper to pair with Ninetales. You've got Mega Metagross, which is one of the strongest Megas out there, so I think it could be deadly. This team is just really good. The Water type being Basculin is kind of a little scary to me. Not knowing, I don't know what Basculin's gonna do here, but that's just me not having a basic, super good knowledge of Basculin in VGC, so who knows, it could surprise me.
Yeah, so Kyle has covered most of the points. Some things that I would like to add is Basculin usually just goes adaptability and Aqua Jet and does a lot of damage, but with Sun that kinda counteracts it, but you probably won't have Basculin under Sun anyways, so you're probably fine with that. Another thing that we have to say for every single Mew team, Mew is very difficult to prep for because it has a huge moveset and it's a very good draft mon. Same with Clefable, because I think Clefable is the mon with the second widest move pool, so yeah, Clefable is also Clefable and Mew are just very diverse mons. Yeah, so moving on to the next team, we have the Toxapex Stans. So you can see that they have a terrain mode, well, you don't actually see a terrain mode, but you do see a Rillaboom, which with that grassy surge can make Earthquakes weaker for Heatran, so it's just another safe option for it. You do have a good Trick Room setter in Cresselia and a decent abuser in Piloswine. And obviously you see the Mega Salamence, which just does a lot of damage and just kills everything in one hit. Yeah, overall, this team is very good. I think one of the reasons why we are ranking this team at 4th instead of higher is because the Trick Room mode could have been better with like maybe more setters, since I don't really think Miss Magius is doing much here. Maybe it's just my lack of knowledge, but I think switching out for something like Cursula would have been better for your Trick Room mode.
I think this team really could use a solid Trick Room sweeper. But other than that, it's a solid team. Like, don't get us wrong, this is a very solid team. We have it at 4th. We just have to nitpick when it comes to the final teams. So, moving on to the next team, we've got the Dallas Duraludons at 4th place, coached by Coach Quick. So right off the bat, you see Riolu, which gives Prankster coachings for Mega Metacham, and Tapu Koko, and Garchomp, which sounds terrifying. You've also got Prankster Tailwind in Tornadus. You've got Garchomp and Tapu Koko, which benefit tremendously by Tailwind. Like, you're not going to outspeed either one of those mons in Tailwind, so good luck. So you've got a really solid Trick Room core in Vikavolt with a solid Trick Room setter in Bronzong. It covers really well. The fire weakness there might be a little concerning, but again, you've got the mons to cover it. You've got Toxapex there, which covers that fire weakness for both of them. And then you've got Vikavolt, which would cover the psychic weakness for Toxapex. So Toxapex and Vikavolt cover each other's weaknesses rather well. You've also got really good fake out with Weavile. You can also run Ice Shard for like a weakness policy Garchomp. Yeah, this team's got the pieces to be really good, so we'll see how they can execute with it.
Yep, and of course we still have to nitpick. No Fire, Water, Grass core is always something that we happen to realize and look at. You are lacking a Fire type and you are lacking a Grass type, but I think this team has the power to handle it, because like Mega Metacham, Weavile, Koko, Garchomp, PZ, Vikavolt, all of them do a lot of damage, and I feel like not having the Fire, Water, Grass core kind of gets covered up by just the raw power of this team.
Yeah, that's why this team is ranked so highest, even without that completed core.
And yeah, and this kind of hyper offense is very well supported with Prankster Tornadus, and if you're running Trick Room, Bronzong. So yeah, that's about it. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Playful Pichus. So as you can see, this team has a very good redirector in Togekiss, which can also set Tailwind, and he did pick up the A-tier Metagross, which is a huge steal in my opinion. I really think the Sableye is a very good prankster mon. Since I don't think many people will disagree about that. And Fernape is a very good fast fire type with fake out and strong physical attacks with Iron Fist boosting them. And I could see like potential combos with maybe Bulldoze Spectrier next to Metagross, and just Metagross dealing with things. But yeah, and Mamoswine is a really good, like it just has a very good offensive typing, which basically can hit everything for neutral, and you have a decent Trick Room Setter, not the best, but it's decent, Porygon, which I guess can help out with probably only a Alolan Golem. But yeah, overall, we like this team quite a bit, and yeah. Do you have anything to add?
No, you covered it all. One thing I will say is Mega Sceptile, I don't think it's ever been taken in this league in either of the divisions throughout the 3 seasons. So I'm actually interested to see how that mon does specifically.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting to see. And that's probably it for this team. Let's move on to our second team. Yeah.
Moving on to the penultimate team, the Los Angeles Lechonks. So what you see from this team, right off the bat, you've got a terrain mode with Tapu Fini and Drifblim. You've got Tailwind with Drifblim. You've got mons that will love that Tailwind with Celesteela, Mega Glade, Naganadel, to name a few. You've got a solid Trick Room core with Rhyperior, but you don't really have the strongest Trick Room setter. You've got Audino, which isn't the best Trick Room setter. It's not the worst, don't get me wrong, but it's not the best Trick Room setter. You've got really good redirections from Pachirisu. Magmar is there to do for your fire type. I think it's solid. It's really bulky with an Eviolite, so I think it could do well. Overall, this team it's really good. There's just one team edged it out and just barely. We talked it over for a while trying to figure out which team was truly the number one team. So this one the number one team just edged this team out.
Yes, Mega Gallade is my favorite Pokemon. I think 90% of people know this. And yeah, I just can't be biased because like the next team is like it's just a slight teensy bit better. Also another thing about this team is that the Celesteela does kind of have the protection from the electric attacks from the Rhyperior, but it does lack the fire protection which most Steela teams have. But with Finny, I think that's not that big of a problem since Finny is an awesome water type. Yeah, and I love Mega Gallade. Mega Gallade cannot be burned due to Misty Surge, and also Mega Gallade gets Inner Focus, which can make it immune to Intimidate, so it's going to be pretty hard to lower its attack stat, other than maybe using Fast Charm users. But let's move on to our number one ranked team, which is the Alexandria Arcanines. Yes, Danon PR number one again. Yeah, we get it. It's actually a good team. So you've got the infamous Indeedee and Slurpuff and Goldtress core, which always performs very reliably since you proc that Unburden on Slurpuff, and Slurpuff just starts doing a lot of stuff. It can fake tears, it can charm things, it can string shot for speed control. It just has a lot of utility, and once you get that fake tears and whatnot, you can send in that Goldtress and just start cleaning things up. I also love the Sand core with Hippowdon and Dracozolt, and I think the Trick Room core is awesome. Wishy-Washy is a very good low tier with base 140 attack stats, I think, in both attack and special attack. It's an insane low tier. And you do have a pretty reliable Trick Room setter in Gourgeist since it is immune to Fake Out being a ghost type. And you do also have that priority Tailwind in Cottony to help boost Nidoking or Goldtress or Dracozolt or Wishy-Washy or obviously Mega Lucario, which all of them can do a lot of damage if set up correctly, and obviously I don't think Dan is going to fail at doing that, but we're not going to we aren't ranking these teams based on the coaches. We actually genuinely think this team is good. Moltres non-believers, continue disbelieving Moltres and you will be punished. But yeah.
Moltres Galar the kill leader for this division after?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought. Yeah, keep doubting it there. Should have been an S tier. it got outvoted. Whatever. I'm not salty about it.
Yeah, but you got any finishing touches you want to talk about on this team?
I really like this team. Like, obviously, it's our #1 team, so I'm gonna say I like it. But this team is scary with how good it is. Like, Wishy-Washy being your Trick Room sweeper, as long as you keep that thing healthy, it's gonna just destroy anything that comes in. Anything that's weak to water or weak to, I believe it gets Ice Beam, and I believe it also gets Thunderbolt. So the amount of coverage that Wishy-Washy gets is just great. And anything, as long as it stays healthy and keeps those buff stats, it's gonna do well. And with Indeedee Female there redirecting and Mega Lucario there for redirecting, it's gonna stay alive and stay healthy. So you should be fine, and it's gonna demolish things.
Yep. One more thing. Like, we're being nitpicky again, but like, this is what we have to do when every team is awesome. There's a huge ice weakness. Cottonee, Nidoking, Gourgeist, Dracozolt, Goltress, Hippowdon, all are weak to ice. But you do have the Mega Lucario with the Priority Bullet Punch or the Vacuum Wave, which can clean up those ice types easily.
As well as Pyro. I think Pyro could also do really well with these ice weakness as well. So.
Yeah, Pyro is could be a potential sleeper pick, but I guess that's all we have for all 14 teams. So, Kyle, you want to give us like a conclusion or whatever?
Yeah, just looking back, all of these teams were good. If you guys have any complaints about your team, prove it on the battlefield. I mean, you can always drop a comment, and we can try explaining ourselves a little bit better if you're still confused about something. Drop a comment. Sure Thunder's watching his comments. I'll be watching his comments too. If you have any questions for us, let us know.
Yeah.
You can always reach out. I stream on Twitch. I'm hopefully gonna start streaming these battles and other Pokemon stuff on Twitch once I get a capture card. But yeah, twitch.tv/CosmicKyle13. Check me out.
Well, this is the end of this video. So if you guys enjoy my videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Also ring that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye, please.